Thanks so much for staying with the McAllen Cable Network. I'm Roxanne Ledma. Well, it's right about that time where we want to take an inside look at our public utility department. And who better to help us out with that than our very own general manager, Mr. Mark Vega. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Okay, so tell me, we've got the smart meters coming, so where are we at there?
Well, here's where we're at. Smart meters should be coming later this year, let's say October, November. So what these smart meters will do is, and the public utility is tremendously, we're really looking forward to this program. These smart meters are going to give us the ability to monitor all of those homes that have a smart meter, all of their flow inside their home. If there's a leak in the home, be able to report to them what kind of flow they have on a daily basis. So it's uncharted territory for us to have that kind of ability to monitor flows on a residential and commercial level, whereas right now, the typical resident or business will get a monthly utility bill that shows, for example, your home used 10,000 gallons of water that month. Mm-hmm. Sometimes what happens is that somebody will be surprised and they'll see a 50,000 gallon consumption that month. And so they ask, how can, my bill is too high, what happened? And there's no way to know. All the current meter does is measure the amount of water that goes through the meter to the home, and a meter reader reads it at the end of the month, and we have a total number. So these meters will actually give us a real-time data on the flow on an hourly basis in your home. So if there's, for example, if there's water being passing through your meter at 3 o'clock in the morning, we know, or the homeowner should know, that something is not right with the plumbing in their home. Unless someone's showering at 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay?
But so I mean, you're going to be able to see that there's an unusual pattern there.
There's a pattern there, that something needs to be checked, and we've never had that ability before. So it's a tremendous tool, not only for the customer, but for us, for conservation. Maybe they can see when their peaks are, when they're using a whole lot of water. Maybe they can adjust that to modify their usage a little bit, but it really gives us a lot of information that we currently don't have on someone's water usage, a business or a home.
I had a situation, as a matter of fact, now that you're mentioning that and patterns, yesterday I had a sprinkler head that broke. I had no idea whatsoever until my neighbor came over and said, it's all the way to my mailbox.
Wow.
Something is going on. So in a situation like that, you actually might have somebody back at the computer saying, maybe there's a problem at Roxanne's house. Right. We might want to let them know?
Yes, and we'll have that information in a central database here, within City Hall, within McAllen. Mm-hmm. All that information from all those meters will be relayed to a central computer where we can go back, and if anybody has any questions or on their consumption, on their bill, we can get into that address or that account number and have a report on their usage.
Going to be a lot more detail oriented, rather than just this broad usage.
Yes. Right.
Excellent.
Right.
So, I mean, that's got to be super exciting for you guys.
It is, because we know that in the future, that's going to be where most, if not all, utilities will go. The question is not if, it's when. And so we're taking our baby steps right now. And by baby steps, I mean that all new accounts will be the smart meter. So if you have an existing home or an existing meter, that will remain there until we're able to phase those out. But for right now, what we're doing is we're going to go from new accounts forward, and as we're going forward, we'll be able to replace the existing meters on a yearly basis and stage that out, maybe 1,000 meters at a time. But all new accounts will have the smart meter.
So that was my next question. It's going to be a gradual process.
It's
not going to be overnight, everybody in the city of McAllen.
No.
You have a new meter.
Right. Correct.
New accounts, and then as the other ones start to go bad or what have you?
If they're old and we replace them out, we'll start to, in our meter replacement program, we'll be replacing them out with the new meters in the near future. Okay. Not for right now, but in the near future.
Excellent. Okay, so speaking of exciting projects, we also have some interesting expansions that we were going to talk about. So Tell me about that.
Well, we'll start with our South Wastewater Treatment Plant expansion. Last year, we completed our North Wastewater Treatment Plant expansion. And that was, at that time, was the largest project that MPU has ever undertaken. And so it was about a $40 million project, and we were able to expand our wastewater plant to 15 million gallons per day. And so that will take us well into the future. We have two wastewater plants, north side on Sprague and 10th Street, or between 23rd and 10th Street, and the south side off of Ware Road and Idela Avenue.
Okay.
And so that north one was completed. Now we're starting, we should start construction at the south wastewater treatment plant expansion, or upgrade rather, by the new year.
Oh, okay.
So we should start construction by the new year, and there will be basically a whole new plant at the south plant. It's a conversion of the type of treatment system, and so that's going to be about a 3-year project. So from start to finish, it'll be about a 30-month, 2.5-year project. So we're excited about that too, because once we finish that, treatment-wise for wastewater, we will be up to date at the north plant, up to date at the south plant, and so we'll be within regulation and all state codes for years to come.
Mark, for folks that don't know, and they're sitting at home and they're saying, okay, this, this wastewater expansion, what does it mean to them? What does it mean to our community? How does it help them?
Right. Well, that's a good question. A lot of communities, let me back up a little bit. Usually, 99% of the time, utilities is very low profile and under the radar. And a lot of residents don't understand about water treatment, wastewater treatment, because it's out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. All
as long as the water comes out, it's good.
That's what they care about, and as well they should. That's really all they should. And so what a lot of communities don't know is how much cities are having to invest in treatment. And we have been blessed here at the City of McAllen to be able to fund these types of projects where going forward in the future, we won't be looking at another expansion in 5 years, or a process upgrade in 5 years where they cost another significant amount of money. They will be completed, and it's a matter of maintenance after that. And so their utility rates will be much more stable, and that's where you notice the differences, is in the utility rates. So for the average person at home who doesn't understand about wastewater treatment, if they know nothing and don't understand it, it probably means it's never been a red flag.
It's all working.
Good. And it's all working.
Yeah.
And so that's probably the best news for the resident, is that from a treatment standpoint, we'll be taken care of, and the impact to those residents going in the future will be minimal. So that's probably the best news for them.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, another project that's coming up, another kind of renovation and expansion, is our South plant?
Our South Water Treatment Plant.
Okay.
And we're excited about that too, and I'll tell you why. The state requires every municipality, every water supply corporation, to have a certain amount of water capacity based on how many connections they have. So for example, the City of McAllen has 50,000 water connections. According to that number, you have to have a certain amount of treatment capacity at your plants. Okay. And those are monitored by the state. So for example, let's say that you have a water treatment system with a certain capacity. You cannot just, you can't exceed 85% of that capacity without expanding your capacity. So the state, if you do exceed that, the state will come in and say, okay, you cannot approve new developments, you can't approve subdivisions, you can't approve a new hotel, because your system is already at capacity. So it's a very important number for any municipality that wants to grow, which the City of McAllen has done for the past, 15 years, and it continues to grow. So from a treatment standpoint, we want to get ahead of the curve, and we have a plan to not only expand the South plant, but bring in what's called raw water, which feeds the water treatment plants. We treat that water, we clean it, and then we put it in the distribution system. So we have a plan to bring in a raw water line from Hidalgo County Irrigation District number 1
Okay.
to the south plant, expand the south plant, and that will give us capacity for approximately another 13 to 15 years.
Really?
So
Oh, so that's extensive.
it is, and it's something that as a utility you always want to watch for. Where are you with your capacity according to state standards, so that you can be growing and expanding and building subdivisions and approving commercial developments and things of that sort that we want to keep doing in the city of McAllen. So it's very, very important to us. The second part of that expansion is that we also want to be a regional water provider. So any cities that are not up to their standards with according to state standards, their capacity, we would love to be able to sell them water. So that's another reason why we want to expand our plants, because we do want to become a regional provider and have the ability to service other communities with water.
We get to be their helping hand.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so we were touching a little earlier about how folks don't know a lot about wastewater, or even maybe the water coming out of their taps. But there's one thing that we do know. We want it to be good. We want it to be safe.
Right.
And to that end, we were also talking about these water monitors. Right now we're having a study to see if we can place them strategically along the river, from what I understand. And then that's kind of going to give us a heads up about the water coming down the river. So tell us about that.
Well, it's a very interesting project that is, it's a joint effort with the Texas Water Development Board, the City of McAllen, and the South Texas Water Utility Managers Association, which is a group of utility managers, several municipalities and water supply corporations that are participating with a cost to undertake a study of placing water monitors in the Rio Grande River from Falcon Reservoir all the way to Brownsville. And what these water monitors will do is give us the ability to read certain parameters in the water in the Rio Grande River, and that information will be relayed to certain locations, so that we can, what we call it, have information in real time. And by real time, it's really more of about a 15-minute update.
But it's more than what we have now.
Very fast. Yes. Right now, you can maybe get daily updates, if not every other day. And by that time, that water's well past us and downstream of McAllen. So we're excited about this project. We're looking at what kind of possibilities, what are the possibilities, and how much it can benefit cities. It started with a taste and odor. Many cities in the valley experience what's called taste and odor issues in their raw water. So somebody will wake up in the morning, take a shower, and say, "My gosh, this water smells funky. It smells funny. It smells funky. It tastes different." Now, and it happens more than people realize. It's still safe. The water's still safe to drink. It's just that the water quality has changed in the river, and the only way right now we have the ability to adjust to that is once it's already hit your system. You get complaints, so you adjust your treatment process.
Now we're going to kind of have
a little bit of a warning, a heads up, as to are there changes in that raw in the water quality in the river, and so it can help municipalities from that standpoint. So, and it's also taken on a little bit. I'll explain a little bit of a double or an additional benefit that it may have. Not long ago, we had a spill on the Mexican side. I was just going to bring that up.
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago that we heard about the fish kill in Mexico.
Yes, and these monitors, they have new technology, or they have monitors that can read certain contaminants in the water, that can detect certain contaminants in the water. So we will be looking at the possibility of possibly installing those monitors in the river. Those are at a higher cost, we know that, and they're not inexpensive. They have a significant cost to them. But given the security issues, those types of issues of what happened in the Mexican side a few months ago, we think it's well worth at least putting the study in to see if that would be a possibility.
So what kind of timeline are we looking at?
Well, yeah, good question. Right now we're looking at August of next year to complete the study.
Okay.
And what the study is going to do is it's going to come back, and what the deliverables are recommendations on what type of monitors to purchase, where to place these monitors, maintenance and operation, who will be responsible for maintaining and operating these monitors, and where this information gets disseminated to, because that's a very important part of the process also. So all of those things are going to be looked at by the engineer and studied well, and with those recommendations coming back probably in what we're looking at next August
Okay.
of 2015.
August 2015. So right now
Yes.
it's kind of just gathering all the information.
Right. Yes.
Okay. So let's wrap it up with something super exciting and kind of hard to miss in the city of McAllen. We got a little bit of purple power and
Right.
some
Right.
bulldog fever going on.
Yes.
Our water tower is nearing completion.
Yes.
So tell us about that.
Well, let me backtrack a little bit. Last year we were able to repaint the Memorial Mustang Water Tower, which is on 6th and Nolana, and let me backtrack even a little further. All of the water towers in McAllen were basically white before we started to repaint them. So for the past 10, 15 years, we've had nothing but white water towers.
There's no more white now.
No more white. So we decided last year, Memorial was the first one to be painted, and it's all light blue with their school logo and lettering.
Right.
And
it's
so,
awesome.
Yes, very, very. We had a lot of positive feedback about that tower. So this year, we are doing the McAllen Water Tower and repainting that. And it's also worth noting that they're not just repainting projects. These are what we call rehabilitation of our water tanks. And what that means is that in time, because they're all steel structures, there's corrosion, there's a lot of hatches, ladders, a lot of structural items that need to be repaired or welded, etc. And so these rehabilitation projects do involve repainting, as you can see, but there's interior items that you can't see that are also involved with these projects. So there's structural improvements as well as the exterior painting that's involved. And so we were able to do Memorial last year. We're doing McAllen this year, and it's an all purple water tower, so you can't miss it.
Yeah, you can't miss it.
And hopefully next year we're working on plans to rehabilitate the Row Water Tower, which is Dove and 23rd Street.
If folks don't know at home what the
Yes.
water tower does, is it looks really cool. It's got the
Yes.
bulldog, or we have our Memorial Mustang, but it really serves a purpose.
Right.
What is that?
And the purpose is, it's really twofold. Well, actually threefold. Two have to do with the water system. And so one of the first purpose is water storage, that you're able to store a large amount of water for purposes of high peak demand. And by peak demand, there's usually two peaks in the city. And that's early morning hours, so around 7 to 8 o'clock in the morning.
Shower and get ready for
when
school and
everyone's
work.
showering,
Yeah.
or irrigating, and then at 6, 7 o'clock in the evening when there's irrigation going on and everybody gets home from work or restaurants and et cetera. So those are the two peaks that the city experiences in their water demand. So that water storage in those water tanks act as a buffer during those peaks. So they will lower during peak times.
So it helps to moderate.
Yes, so it keeps pressure in the system and capacity in the system. So at night, when everyone goes to bed after midnight, from midnight to let's say 6 in the morning, because the demand is low and the pressure gets high, we're able to fill those tanks. So then you hit peak and they'll lower again and they'll fill again and lower. So it kind of acts like a buffer. Not kind of, it does act like a buffer for our water system.
It's our little regulators.
Yes, fire flows also. There's a big fire that's able to, you have storage there in your water system. So there's storage, there's pressure because of the height of the water. Height times the weight of the water, if you multiply that times the weight of the water, gives you pressure. And that's what pressurizes the system also. So there's those two factors. And the third, of course, is the aesthetics factor and what it does. And it's amazing, what view either a poor looking tower or a very nice looking tower, how that makes that area look.
It really does affect the entire area. I mean, if it's shabby, it kind of reflects on the entire vicinity.
It does. It reflects on the community,
Yeah.
A shabby looking tower. So we're doing our best to make these landmarks look as nice as possible. So that's where we're at, and that's what we're doing, and hopefully we'll finish it with the road next year.
When are we going to completely be done with
the contractor should completely be done. It's scheduled to finish within 2 weeks. And so, which really coincides perfectly with the football season, which starts in about 2 weeks, and the first home game, I believe, is about 3 weeks away. So it should coincide perfecully with that.
They're going to be kicking off some South Texas football along with their new Purple Power water tower.
Power water tank.
It probably helps that you're an alum. I'm sure you're excited about that.
That has that much. No, it does have something to do with it. You know, there's a lot of pride in this town. And all schools have a lot of pride. Right. Memorial, Nicky Rowe, McAllen High School. There's a lot of pride in their high schools, and so we want to reflect that. You know, so we hope that the school district is proud of that. We hope that the schools, the students are proud of that, because we know we are. Excellent. Okay, Mr. Mark Vega, lots of valuable information that you shared with us. And we're going to continue to keep you updated on the various projects that we talked about, whether it's the water monitors, maybe it's the smart water meters. And so we'll haul Mark back in to talk to us a little bit more about that. For the City of McAllen, I'm Roxanne Lerma.